fans, Roll at thelogbook.com here at the end of 2019. Thank goodness. This has been a heck of a year, and since I figure, with this being right at the end of the year, probably not a whole lot of people watching, we can go back to where it all started, and we can play some Project Space Station. Now, if you recall, I had a game saved from about a year ago when I started doing Phosphor Dot Fossils, and I'm going to see if we can... try this. Yes, Space Station Maria Cat. And we have a fairly large, if briefly glimpsed, fully staffed space station. We have research projects going, and they need more material research packs assigned to them. Okay, fair enough. Everyone is bickering with one another. The project is very disorganized. Place some of the staff with people who can bring leadership. Really? Okay. Who do I have who can bring the leadership? Tell you what, let's, so we have a doctor on staff, so let's replace Roth with Edwards and see if that brings the aforementioned leadership. Solar flare predicted to occur in 7 days. But of course, we now have the station set up to survive that. One of the bio-research packs is faulty, needs to be replaced. An accident has resulted in extensive equipment damage. Great. You guys stop screwing things up? A key scientist is needed. Okay. Solar physics. Who do we need? We need an astronomer, a physicist, a computer specialist, and a meteorologist. We have an astronomer. We don't have a physicist. Okay, well, let's... entire crew survived solar flare. Well, that's good. Let's pull one of our physicists off of this project and put him on this project. See if that helps or if it leaves us in complete and total disarray. Okay. Everyone is bickering with one another. Okay, so apparently pulling out the one doctor was not the answer for that project. Sometimes you can swap. Oh no. Sometimes you can swap someone out and then back in. Crop inventory. Agronomist, environmentalist, geologist. But you have all of those. Deploy satellite to geosynchronous orbit. Okay, you all need to learn to get along. I need to go launch a satellite because that brings in the bucks. And who better launch a satellite than a medical doctor? I mean, why not? Whoa. I think we got to take out the trash. One of the things that is a constant, especially in the Apple II version of this game, is space debris piling up in the space around the space station. And you dispose of it by, of course this won't be news to you if you watch the previous times I've played this game, you dispose of it by basically dropping it down here next to, you know, the signifier for the planet. You know, you're dropping it in the upper edges of the atmosphere, where the atmospheric drag will drag it to its doom. Obviously, that's not a place that you ever want to take a payload of any kind. Boink. Satellite deployment income added to budget. You want to keep the debris out of the way of your EVA pods, your station, any shuttles that might be coming up to bring stuff to you. I'm sure they would appreciate it. And so a lot of time is spent in the game, you know, and I'm sure the reason the game is tilted that way is to make sure there's lots of you know, arcade action sequences, kind of like this one, to make it appealing to kids, so that maybe they will stick around and soak up some of the resource and project management lessons of the game, because that's really what all of this is about. Is you're learning to budget, you're learning to balance the right kind of people on a project, you know, in a kind of rudimentary way, and you're learning to take out the space trash. How much accumulating damage. Thank you. The space debris is annoying in the extreme, which is why I've sent a highly paid, highly qualified medical doctor out to grab space debris. Take it in, get rid of it. So let's do a quick flyby of the station for those of you just joining us who weren't watching a year ago. Space debris has entered space station orbit. Really? Are you kidding me? More space debris has entered the space station's orbit. Okay, let's go down the length of the station here and see if we can pick out this piece of trash that's wound up stuck to the window. Boink. In the Apple version, for whatever reason, it is really hard to get space debris from the right, as I'm trying to do. Can't get it. I wonder if this is going to be one of those things where I have to take apart the station to do it. I mean, there's no real consequence to that. It's not like you have to tell everyone, oh, evacuate to this part of the station. The game's not keeping track of that many variables. So, that won't happen. But it's just a pain in the butt to have to do. And I'm just going to put a pin in that for now and come back to it later. I thought I just cleaned this up. Pod fuel level low. Okay, back to the barn. Before bad things happen. No, seriously. Back to the barn. Don't bounce off of the barn. Alright, let's exit from EVA momentarily. Let's check up on our R&D. Oh, research is progressing nicely. That's good. Not enough of the right scientists are on this project. A key scientist is needed. Okay, well, 2 out of 4 ain't great, but it ain't bad. Funnel as much of that into operations as I can, because that's the bill you're running up when you are, doing EVA or doing launches. So get some more of that sweet, sweet space equipment. Okay. This stuff isn't cheap. So let's go to launch scheduling. I didn't have a launch planned until early May of 1988, because really that's the point that you were trying to reach in the game, where you have things humming along so well that you don't need to be sending shuttles up every week. Alright, everything is launching up Millhouse. Okay, so let's move that, because right now we don't have any satellites up there. And that's a bad spot to be in. Let's launch a shuttle tomorrow, shall we? Now that's not a decision that ever gets made. In terms of aging well, as you can see, this game is showing us Challenger on mission STS-33 in 1988, which is something that never happened. January 1988, the American space program was at, I'm not going to say a total standstill. Stuff was happening behind the scenes to, plan for the return to operations. But, as far as the public was concerned, nothing was happening. There was no space station to go to at the time. It wasn't like Columbia when we had people up there and all of a sudden there was no shuttle to get them down. Okay. That deploy satellite to low orbit. Well, fine. Fire a satellite to orbit. Just pick one. Really, just pick one. Okay. And what I'm going to have Millhouse do. Oh, wait, that's Nelson. Sorry. Going to dock that satellite. You know what? My OCD is just going to get the best of me. I can't leave this trash out here. Grasp space debris. I wonder if I could can we just put it in the shuttle cargo bay? Yes, we can. I forgot if that was possible or not. Hey, let's get the bird back on the ground. Remember that trash you launched from Earth? It's back! I wonder how much space debris you could put in the shuttle. I see an ill-advised experiment happening either this round or perhaps the next time I play the game. So, that was mildly entertaining. Okay, fun things to do with space debris. You heard it here first. Wow, I thought that was a decent landing, but okay. Okay. Let's bring out someone from the station to handle keeping a keeping a station in orbit is expensive. Keeping a shuttle up there is also expensive, and so at this stage in the game, when you have a fully staffed space station, it's best to get the shuttle back down on the ground as quickly as possible, and just do milk runs basically. Take stuff up, leave it for the station crew to deal with, and get out of there, because your operations money gets sucked dry if you are keeping a shuttle in orbit all the time. Okay, space trash. Alright, you space trash, let's get you out of here. So we have a game set in 1988 where the Space Shuttle Challenger still exists. Obviously, this game, in some ways, was not ahead of its time, but look at what I'm doing now in the game. We still can't do this. We can't deal with space trash. If space debris enters an orbit where it might coincide with the space station, with the International Space Station in real life, either they use the engines on a Soyuz or Progress vehicle docked to the station to raise the station's orbit, basically boost it up out of the way, or worst case, they just kind of shelter in place. Which that's got to be a lovely, helpless feeling for any crews that are up there when that happens. At some point, space junk is going to be something that we have to deal with, and so while the self-contained EVA pods, the game revolves around, never left the drawing board. Perhaps they should be back on somebody's drawing board before long, because it'll be necessary to be more proactive than that when dealing with real space debris at some point. Something like this, sending out a pod to scrape this stuff up and deal with it, will probably be something that happens in the age of full-time commercial space research, when you have a corporate-owned space station doing that corporation's research in orbit. and they will, they may be a bit more proactive. More space debris. Shoot me. So now that you have, as it says, grasped the space debris problem, if indeed you've forgotten it or didn't see the earlier times that we played this game, let's get back to the base, get back to the space station, because, oh yeah, we're running out of consumables. Let's see how our R&D is doing. One of the material research packs. Okay, so it automatically transfers those to the station. I was kind of worried about that. Everyone is bickering with each other. Not enough of the right scientists. Research is progressing nicely. Okay. Crop inventory. One of the general research packs needs to be replaced. There, have one. Have some pizza rolls while you're... Have a Snickers. Get happy. Do your research. Alright, so let's pull Doc Roth off of this one. You know, the other doctor has had enough fun scooting around in a space pod. Let's put him on the pharmaceuticals project and see if that helps. Sometimes it just seems so random. You never know what's going to throw a research project off. Okay. More of those tasty, tasty research packs. We'll see how long we can go without sending another shuttle up. Oh, it's full. Okay. So we will leave this launch in early June, where it is right now. In game time, it is February 88, so this would be June 88 that launch is scheduled. Deploy satellite to low orbit. Okay. So, which of our highly paid doctors is going to do this? We'll send Howard out. Maybe Howard can get rid of some space debris while he's at it. Make yourself useful, Howard. For crying out loud. Go bring home the bacon. And let's get rid of some space debris. Just to pass the time. Before we check on the R&D projects again. So we're in a phase of the game where really things happen kind of slow, and the only thing that really makes it a game at this point instead of a simulation is that you're having to go outside and pick up trash. Satellite deployment income added to the budget. Yay. This is how you guys keep earning your keep and getting more research packs. So we are now in late February 8th. Wow, dude's been out in this pod for 4 days picking up trash. This is crazy. I think you would go stir crazy at some point. Man, let me out of the pod. I wonder if we can fish this one little piece of space debris out of this corner. The Apple II version, for whatever reason, you have a really hard time getting a hold of space debris if you're coming at it from the right side. I just don't want to dismantle the whole station to accommodate this piece of space trash and get it out of the way. Ah, you're going to make me do exactly that, aren't you, game? Okay, let's go check our research projects. Deployed satellite to low orbit. We'll check on our research projects later. Bring out your pod. I don't have a satellite to bring out to low orbit. Oh, this is bad. This is really bad. And it's April. Okay. Whoa, whoa. Planning funds required for this screen. Oh, my space program is running out of money. This is a bad thing. That's right, Gabby. I even have a whining dog behind me. So these guys have got to go up sooner rather than later. Okay. So here we are launching Challenger again in April of 1988. And hopefully it will not take so long to get the satellite up there and launch it that that we lose the satellite deployment. I hope that doesn't happen, because that's, well, it's not the whole reason I'm doing this. I need to get the research packs up there. But, yeah, it's definitely not helping that the clock is ticking on the satellite deployment. So let's get this bird up there, this ungainly bird. Stay on target. Okay, let's get that satellite up there. So once again, we were going to have an equal number of satellites and payload assist modules, and now we are back to a surplus of payload assist modules and only one satellite. That's the business, I suppose. Grasped Pam. I hope she didn't mind. Okay. So we've got that out of the way. I'm not going to put any space debris in there. I'm just going to land the shuttle as soon as I possibly can. And see, here's the thing. I've never played a game that went this far into the late 80s before, in terms of Project Space Station, in terms of a station and a space program that goes that long. I usually run out of money long before that. But, of course, I'm talking about my experiences playing it when I was younger and perhaps less budget conscious. So, make of that what you will. Satellite deployment income added to the budget. Well, let's get some of that sweet, sweet satellite income money distributed. And, yeah, let's go ahead and plan the next launch, which will be in July. Oh, I still have room for more stuff. Now let's take them out. Because it's giving priority to the ones who haven't flown recently. You can only buy one. What kind do you get? Alright, so that launch is scheduled for right after Independence Day 1988. Well, you can have one more material research pack. One of the general research packs. Deploy satellite to geosynchronous orbit. Bring out your pod. This will leave us with no satellites between the end of April and the beginning of July. I'm not entirely comfortable with that situation, but since this was a geosynchronous launch, maybe if we get a nice little pay packet from that. Maybe we can move it up to late May. Hopefully that will be sufficient. Okay. Waiting assignment of research equipment project at a standstill. They don't have any research packs. Great. Just great. Okay, well, maybe we move the launch up a bit. Good grief. These guys are really going through the equipment. Okay, wait a minute, which one was it? Solar physics. I need a general research pack. Let me make sure that I have the right stuff on this shuttle that's about to launch. Seeing as I have 48 hours to... okay, yes I do. Alright, well let's head out to the pad. It would be great if one of these R&D projects would hit some big breakthrough and start paying off quickly. Complete failure of the onboard computer guidance system. But hey, that's something we can fix without having to, boy, those winds are... This is going to be fun. Okay, and let's land it immediately. So I think we've played it enough that we can save the game to our trusty floppy disk and come back to it next year. I just thought it would be fun to revisit the space station that I spent so much of everybody's time building about a year ago. Okay, now let's go, and space debris has entered space station orbit. Let's get these satellites picked up before they re-enter the atmosphere. Because, by the way, if you do what I just did, land the shuttle immediately, and wait too long to send a guy out in a pod, or send somebody out in a pod to move everything to a safe orbit near the station. If you leave it too close to the atmosphere, then very much like the space debris that it keeps telling us about, your very, very expensive equipment, that is all that is keeping the space program alive, will also re-enter the atmosphere in a blaze of glory, having benefited absolutely no one. So, I'm not going to do any space debris cleanup right now. We're going to get back in there. There, have one. enough of the right scientists are on the project. Okay, so solar flare. Big whoop. We're safe. Unlike that one time that we weren't safe. And that's why I have dead people in space. I want some good news here. Really? Everyone is bickering with one another. Deploy satellite to geosynchronous orbit. Alright. So we are almost at the middle of 1988. Time has marched on. Now I'm going to have to send another shuttle up with another satellite and another PAM. Or else we're going to get caught with our pants down the next time we get a geosynchronous satellite deployment order. The entire crew survived. Well, this is good news. I would expect nothing less. Okay. Yeah, this space program is running out of cash in a rush. Okay, so these guys are not getting along. So I'm going to put the team back together as it was. And I think that, my friends, is where we are going to save it. And maybe someday again we will come back and see how Space Station Maria Cat is doing. It's doing pretty good. I just wish everyone would get their research done before we go broke. Thanks again for watching. It's been a lot of fun doing this throughout 2019. Been kind of crazy. I may not be doing Phosphor Dot Fossils quite so often in 2020 because I'm going to have supposedly more paying work coming my way that is going to be taking up a bit more of my time. So PDF may become a once or twice a week thing, but I thank everyone for watching. Thanks to all of my Patreon people. You're very much appreciated. You have no idea. Thanks to everyone who has suggested games for me to cover. And sometimes I had already recorded them, and that turnaround happened fast. Sometimes you had to wait a little bit. Thank you for your patience, and thanks for your interest. This is, it's always fun.